Thank you so much for joining me today for a 30-minute yin practice. Let's take 2 blankets or a blanket and a towel, 2 blocks, and a pillow or a bolster over to our mat today. Taking 1 blanket and folding it to place at the center of your mat. Resting your knees on top of the blanket, taking the second blanket and rolling it so that it can sit behind your knees. Allowing your knees to settle, inner hip distance apart, heels in line with your knees. If you need more support, perhaps you lift your seat, placing a block between your heels. And just begin to settle in. Taking a deep breath in, shrugging your shoulders up to your ears. Exhale it out your mouth, let it go. Let your shoulders glide down your back. Allowing your hands to rest on your lap, palms facing up if you're in need of receiving. Palms facing down if you're in need of some grounding. And just begin to arrive on your mat today. Coming out of your head and into your body. Feeling your breath fill your belly, your lungs, expanding your ribs with fresh life force energy. And allowing your exhales to release what's no longer serving you in this moment. Long, slow, deep inhales and exhales as you allow your seat to rest on the block, as you allow your hips to soften. Beginning here in our Thunderbolt pose. Yin yoga is an introspective practice. It powerfully combines yoga and traditional Chinese medicine to cultivate a deeper awareness and connection to our mind and our bodies, to create a safe space to slow down, to ground, to go inward. The longer holds may bring us to a point of resistance or even discomfort in some cases, when our body's whispers become more important to embrace the presence of the pose. Listen to your body's whispers so they don't become screams. I chose to start us here today because it's a pose that evokes calm stability. It demands strength and steadfastness, and it channels an energy that's stable, concentrated, and radiant, just like each of you. We're cultivating flexibility and alignment of our hips, our legs, our ankles, and our knees, opening through our hips, increasing circulation to the legs, reducing stiffness and fatigue throughout our body, supporting the health of many of our internal systems, reproductive, urinary, circulatory, and activating the earth and the water elements within us, supporting our vata and our pitta doshas. As we settle into this asana, I invite you to release to your edge, to let your body know that it's safe to release tension here, that it's okay to allow your stress to melt away. Find security in the foundation of the stillness of this pose. As emotions or tensions bubble to the surface, remind your body that the conditions are safe, that the feelings are welcome, that the information is knowledge for how we proceed from here. Approach what's coming up in a state of observation, with gentleness and with care. Fluttering your eyes open, bringing your gaze forward. Rising your seat and rolling onto all fours. Maybe bringing the knees as wide as the mat and sinking your hips back on your heels. If you know that you feel tension in your child's pose, maybe keeping the block underneath your seat. Or if you know you can sink a little deeper in your child's pose, perhaps you remove the block off to the side or maybe under your chest and your third eye As you begin to fold forward, allow your knees to press into the mat. Allow your chest to melt towards the earth beneath you. And make any subtle adjustments that will help you release more deeply without struggle. Settling into your child's pose. Looking at this posture from the outside, looking in, it evokes the image of a child curling into a fetal position. We curl into this fetal position for emotional comfort and for physical rest. It supports us in moving inward to connect with the divine energy at the heart of the universe and also the essence of our own being. Allow the stillness to serve as a source of restoration and healing. With your breath, allow your body to melt into deeper serenity with each and every exhale. Feel your bones become heavy and feel the muscles and the tissues melt away. Tell your body that it's safe here. Allow the stillness to restore you, to heal you. We're facilitating a flexion in the hips and the knees here, gently tractioning the spine as we massage the abdominal organs, supporting the health of our reproductive systems, circulatory systems, our senses, and our brain. We're calming the nervous system, allowing ourselves to soothe and tone our parasympathetic nervous system, our rest and digest, to allow ourselves freedom from that fight or flight. As our spine aligns from the base of our spine up to the crown of our head, we're balancing all of our chakra centers, from root to sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and crown. We're activating our kidney, our spleen, our stomach meridians, as all 5 elements are balancing our vata and our pitta, supporting the earth and comforting our inner child as we surrender, relaxing all effort within. Our Apana Vayu is eliminating not only physical waste, but anything undesirable or threatening our mental health, our physical health, promoting a healthy immune system and keeping mind free of destructive forces. Our Udana Vayu is offering regulation to speak our truth, to seek self-growth, and to freely express ourselves as our body freely releases deeper into the rest of this pose, cultivating well-being, embracing truth. At our emotional and our wisdom body levels, child's pose cultivates safety and serenity, removing the inner resistance that prevents us from resting in our true nature. At bliss, it connects us to the source of creation and simultaneously to our own inner being. Taking one more breath here. And when you're ready, pressing yourself up, fluttering open your eyes as you walk your hands in towards your seat. Removing the blanket from behind your knees, the block from behind your knees as you roll off onto your left hip. Maybe taking that rolled blanket underneath your seat as we swing our legs around front. Taking a moment to rebound, soles of the feet plant in the earth, shoulders stack over hips, knees point to the sky. Hands plant behind you, palms on the earth, fingertips face you. Pressing back gently into the hands as your heart shines towards the sun. Maybe your gaze follows. And then releasing it forward. Releasing your hands, giving a little shake if you put some pressure on your wrist there. So if you have any back or knee issues, I do ask that you just find a wall to support you here. Does anybody have any? Okay, it looks like we are good. So go ahead and place that blanket underneath your seat if it's not already there. Allow your blocks to come outside of your knees. I like them on the medium height, but if you know that you are able to sink your knees more heavily in your Supta Baddha Konasana, you can lower them or maybe not use them at all. Perhaps the blocks would serve you better at the center of the mat, and placing a bolster pressed up into your pelvic area, centered into the midline of the mat. Wherever you are, we're going to begin to allow our knees to splay out to the sides, drawing the soles of our feet either in towards that block or in to press towards one another. Maybe we bring our hands to our ankles and just give a gentle self-adjustment, drawing our shoulders over our hips, our heart nice and tall, our spine nice and long. Chin is neutral, crown is reaching towards the sun as your sit bones are plugging towards the earth in that polarity. Deep breath in, and allow your exhale to melt your heart forward, binding your hands around the toes of your feet, sinking your belly towards the block, your chin towards your chest as you melt into your folded butterfly pose. Allow for a comfortable space between your groin and the heels of your feet here. As you settle in, let your hips become heavy. Feel the muscles and the tissue start to soften away from the bone. Pressing your palms down gently to create that length in your spine as you rest your knees out to your sides. Filling your lungs with air on each inhale. Allow your exhale to hinge you forward until your first point of resistance is met. Take a moment to observe what you're feeling here, the space you're creating here. And take notice of any areas your body is telling you you can soften. You're at your edge. Perhaps you walk your hands forward, palms facing down, heart towards your bolster, your new earth. Perhaps you release your third eye towards this new foundation, allowing your spine to curve as gravity draws you inward, allowing the weight to melt your head, your heart, your belly, softening with each exhale. Feeling your groin and your outer hips open, your spine release vertebrae by vertebrae, allowing your mind to quiet, breathing into the thoughts that are arising in this deep hip release. As our feet press together, we bind our feet with our hands. We get to observe and experience the pose's qualities, the release our body's experiencing, how we're nourishing these areas that may have formerly been areas of tension. Breathe into those areas. Let this pose create a sense of safety, of security. Let it offer you a sacred space of transformation as you discover the source of inner nourishment. This asana allows us to release blockages that prevent us from relaxing into the core of our being. As we release more deeply and embrace the stillness, tensions in our inner pelvic area release. Tensions in our mind soften as they more easily pass by. And we believe in the deepest layers of our soul that we are nourished, we are safe, we are held. Allow this stretch to tone the pelvic floor. Allow this stretch to stretch your inner thighs and your groin, increasing circulation, supporting our lymphatic system, especially throughout the groin area. Allow this to balance your Apana Vayu as the energy draws in and out, while activating our Samana Vayu from the belly outward, encouraging healthy Agni digestive fire. As tensions arise, learn to witness them without reacting. Allow for release of what's not serving you, and surrender to the nourishment the restoration that the stillness here invites. Let it feel good. Don't worry about what it looks like. Just simply be where you are. Taking one more deep, slow breath here. And then walking your hands up as your torso rises. Removing the bolster and the blocks off out of the way. Taking your hands outside of your knees and pressing your thighs together. Extending your legs long, hands plant at your sides. Quick Dandasana for a rebound pose here. If you'd prefer to open through your heart, maybe you walk your hands back 1 or 2 handprints so they're just behind your hips. And start to draw your pelvis forward, your heart open, your shoulder blades to kiss. Gaze comes up to where the ceiling meets the wall. And then slowly relax as your shoulders stack over your hips, drawing your right knee in and crossing your right leg over your left, drawing your left heel in towards your seat, starting to stack your knees over one another. Maybe walking your feet out in line with your knees here. If you feel good there, maybe you draw those heels in closer towards your hips until you reach that first area of resistance. We're still sitting on our one blanket here. If you notice, there's a lot of space between your top and bottom knees. Perhaps you take that second blanket or towel and you roll that up and you place it there. Option to take your bolster and place it in the crease of your belly, where your belly meets your thighs. Wherever you are, take a deep breath, and on your exhale, hinge at the hips, lead with the heart, melt it forward until you find that edge of resistance. Maybe you release the hold on your feet and you take hold of opposite elbows. As you allow your chin to release towards your chest, your third eye to melt towards your bolster. Opening and stretching through your hips, your hip flexors. Grounding through your sit bones on the blanket beneath you. Allowing this height underneath your pelvis helps you release more easily into this pose. And that's what we want to do in Yin, right? We want to bridge that discomfort with peace and ease in the stillness so we can carry it through to our mind and our movements off of the mat today. Breathing deep as your hips melt heavier into the foundation beneath you. Shoelace encourages a gentleness, non-violence, our first yama, ahimsa, and nurturing and self-study, our niyama, svadhyaya, allowing the integration of nature with gentleness and kindness, unity and harmony, integrating the whole person, the foundation of our inward journey. Allowing your hips to open, supporting and massaging the lymph nodes of the groin, supporting the lymphatic system and immune systems, releasing what's no longer serving you, creating space for all that will. Integrating the grounding effects that are good for vata, and balancing pranavayu, inviting life force in to move inward and upward, nourishing our brain, our eyes, and all that we're receiving in the physical and subtle body. Surrendering deeply into this stillness in your shoelace pose, allowing it to remove blockages and restore balance in your sacral chakra, giving yourself permission to feel that pleasure, to feel that deep release. Wherever you are, we'll slowly walk our hands up, torso rises, placing the bolster off to the side, Removing the second blanket between your knees. Helping your right foot off of your left and assisting your left foot to meet the right. Hands plant behind you, palms facing down, fingertips facing away. Walking your feet to the long edges of the mat as you allow your knees to tent in towards one another, knees pointing up. Give a gentle press into the heels of your palms as you draw your pelvis slightly forward. Breathing deep here. And on the exhale, give a gentle sway from side to side. Allowing yourself to release through that lower lumbar, and through your outer hip flexors. And then coming through stillness. Elevating your sit bones. Extending your legs long as you bring your left knee into your chest, crossing left foot over right. Hands plant at your sides, rolling onto your right hip as you draw your right heel in towards your seat. Slowly gliding that left knee to stack over the right. Maybe we bring that blanket or that towel to reduce the space between our knees. Maybe we squeeze our thighs for just a moment to see what that engagement feels like, and then releasing to allow us to come deeper into this pose. If you like that bolster on the other side, go ahead and nestle it into the crease of your hips. Hands can come to your sides of your feet. Deep breath in, nice long spine, shoulders stack over hips. Exhale, hinge at the hips, lead with your heart, melt and surrender to the second side. Holding in the practice of yin helps our bodies gain access. As we revitalize the tissues of our body, we restore the range of motion within our body. For a healthy range of motion, we need to work through the layers of the connective tissue to allow the muscles to glide over one another. But so often from past injuries that we may or may not even know occurred, just the structures of our day-to-day life, the habitual postures, and of course, aging, we can bind these connective tissues together, restricting movement between the surfaces of the muscles, almost creating like a traffic jam within our own body. So think about that as you settle in here, right? Think about when you wake up in the morning and things are already crunchy and you need to wake your body up slowly. It just feels like everything's jammed up. And sometimes it's the movement that creates that lubrication for our body, but it's also the stillness, the rest, the surrender that allows us to work deeply into that fascia to get that myofascial release and be able to bring these tissues back into harmony. When the traffic in our body is jammed, our energy can be restricted, but nurturing our body through holding these poses gently lengthens the muscles and massages the fascia to help open the flow of traffic within our own body. It allows the information, the nutrients, the energy to flow more freely. And all we need to do is be where we are, be still with our body and the sensations that are arising. Be still with our thoughts as we allow the prana to flow in us and our bodies to release what's no longer serving us. Marinating in the stillness. Can you feel the shift? Can you let go of the pressures, the traffic? Embrace the space for rest and the renewal to invite more peace and ease into your mind and into your body. And this incense that I'm burning here is native spirit owl. It connects us to the owl spirit. And when you're seeking wisdom, you're seeking intuition. It's really beautiful how the owl can guide you to see the truth, can guide you to face your darker side, and really allow the eyes of the night to bring out the mysteries that are guiding you to a higher level of self-awareness That's what we're doing here in Yin. We're embracing the shadows. We're cultivating a higher sense of intuition, a greater sense of self-awareness as you go inward, embracing the stillness, embracing the silence. And taking one more deep, slow breath here. Torso rises, moving the props off to the side. Unravel your legs with the help of your hands, planting the soles of the feet on the earth. Knees point to the sky. And lowering it down to your back. Keeping that blanket underneath your sacrum. Maybe placing the second blanket underneath the nape of your neck to support the bottoms of your shoulders. As you lower down vertebrae by vertebrae, sacrum, lower ribs, middle ribs, shoulders and head. Walking the heels in towards your seat. Engaging the lower belly just for a moment as you draw your knees in towards your chest. Wrapping your hands around your shins for Apanasana. So that Garambasana version of child's pose, that would be like a closed knee child's pose. This is the supine version, and one of the benefits is in the name. It's Apanasana. It stimulates and balances our Apana Vayu. So creating that downward and outward flow of energy, encouraging elimination and stimulation of our digestive systems. So when we're eliminating, we're not only eliminating food from our body, we're eliminating all toxins, toxic thoughts, toxic feelings, lies within us, just really allowing anything that's no longer serving our body and our mind, anything that's bringing us out of harmony, out of unity, to release out. And this folding motion as we draw our knees in towards our chest here is really cultivating that intuition and stimulating our digestive systems by compressing on our stomach and our internal organs. So allow whatever's coming up here to come up. Allow yourself to breathe in to the discomfort, releasing any physical or emotional tension. This pose refers to the water and the qualities of purification and relief. It's a return home to a place of comfort and inner nourishment. It allows you to show gratitude, journeying into the deeper layers of yourself as you turn inward, connecting to reproductive and urinary systems, massaging the eliminatory systems, and supporting optimal digestion while stabilizing the pelvis, releasing stress and tension in the low back, and calming your nervous system as you soothe and tone that rest and digest response. The wisdom and the intellect body is encouraging the release of emotional blockages, creating a sense of lightness and ease, encouraging to respect life's natural flow, letting go of what's no longer needed through elimination in the down and out current of this Vayu. Allow your body to purify, your mind to purify, to accept gently and move on to the next stage, even lighter than you arrived. Releasing your legs long on the mat. Lower lumbar melting as your hips plant steady like they're weighted, anchored into the earth. Maybe giving a gentle sway of your feet from side to side. Maybe a little climb of your hips up and down. And then coming through stillness, planting your hips, anchoring them and allowing them to feel weighted, almost like the bones are anchoring into the earth beneath you. As your hips anchor,
Draw your torso off to the left side of the mat, reaching your arms above you, maybe taking hold of opposite elbows, or left hand can wrap around right wrist. Always an option to grab a mudra here. Maybe connecting thumb and pointer finger for Jnana mudra or concentration mudra to align with that focus. Or maybe staying neutral if that is your preference. Drawing the heels of your feet off to the bottom left corner of the mat. Maybe crossing your right heel over the left ankle ditch, allowing yourself to find that first edge of resistance. Engage through your glutes as you really anchor that right sit bone into the earth beneath you, and then allow it all to release. Hips become heavy, side body becomes open, breathing into the tissues between each and every rib. Feeling that expansion happen, that space be created as you work deep into that side body, relieving your intercostals while stretching your outer hips, massaging your inner groin, allowing this to feel deeply nourishing. If you notice any pain coming up, maybe you back out, or if you feel like you have more room, maybe you go a little further. Experience harmony through the balance of these polarities. Feeling your hips stretch as you traction your spine laterally. Your trunk is stabilized, supporting the balance in this pose, and the arms stabilize, the shoulder girdle in this pose. Allowing the muscles of respiration to increase lung capacity with every breath, with every invitation for your pranayama to enliven you. Creating an opening for the liver and the stomach to aid in digestion and aid in removal. Increasing circulation and blood flow for your extremities. And balancing your prana and apana vayus, sending airflow both up and out and down and out while activating your samana vayu. We're balancing the 4 chakras from our root up to our heart, which connects our physical and subtle bodies. The element is air. Let this feel good. Let that life force invigorate you. Let it nourish you as you honor life's natural rhythms, supporting us in releasing those dualistic belief systems. Nothing in life is all good or all bad. Even the traffic. The traffic is information. When we feel that tightness, that tension arise, it's a signal. It's a signal. It's like a red light that says stop, or a yellow light that says slow down. It's time to rest, to digest, to go inward, tapping into those deeper layers of ourselves. Slowly releasing the clasp on your arms, releasing the cross in your ankles, walking your feet and your torso back to the center line of the mat. Reaching your arms overhead, pointing through the toes for a quick rebound, and then puddling your lower lumbar into the mat, anchoring those hips heavy, and drawing your torso off to the top right corner of the mat, heels off to the bottom right corner of the mat, maybe taking that cross or that clasp, slight engagement in the glutes, to ensure you're anchoring those sit bones into the earth, and those hips of yours are shining like 2 headlights to the sky. The energetic pathways. And allow yourself to settle in deeply. Just bringing breath all through your side body, finding length and expansion. Allowing yourself to gently meet your body and your mind where it is. Be patient with yourself as you observe the sensations coming up. As you breathe into the tissues, as you feel everything connecting, as that hip point and tension releasing, feeling the space you're creating as you approach each observation with tenderness, as your body acclimates deeper, heavier, surrendering as you release control. When we're in a traffic jam, sometimes just the lack of control of not being able to get to where we want to be is what creates the extra stress. But there's nowhere we need to be but here. So many things had to happen in this world for us to be exactly who we are, exactly where we are in this moment. Surrender to that and notice any areas of your body where you may be holding on to that tension. Consciously breathe into it and allow it to release. Releasing the need for control. Just feeling what you're feeling and allowing that to carry off the mat with you into your daily lives. Adapting, adjusting, accommodating as you surrender to your edge, releasing control and feeling the lightness surround the heaviness of your hips. Embracing that polarity, the grounding of your shoulders, the opening of your heart. Allow this to restore your equilibrium, feeling whole, here and now, exactly as you are. Slowly releasing the cross in your ankles and the clasp in your arms. Walking your heels back to center line of the mat, torso back to center line of the mat. Allowing your arms to rest evenly out to your sides. Maybe allowing your toes to splay out to the long edge of the mat. Taking a blanket and covering yourself to bring warmth to your body as you soften your gaze, shutting down your eyes. Allowing any leftover tension or expectations to just release from your body, from your mind, and let it go into this safe, secure earth beneath you. There's nothing more you need to do. Young Pablo says, how will you help heal? By healing myself and supporting the healing of those around me. By allowing love to fill my every being and guide my every action. By understanding that if it causes harm, it's okay. Observe, accept, release, transform. Because being calm in the midst of chaos is a sign of true power, of peace, of harmony. Deepening your breath, bringing subtle movements back into your fingers and back into your toes. Taking a moment to roll off onto the right side, knees stacking in the fetal posture, serving as a reminder that with every breath we can be reborn to our natural born state of peace and ease. Helping yourself up to an easy seated position, crossing one leg in front of the other, hands pressed at heart center as a sign of gratitude in our Anjali Mudra. Bowing chin to chest, third eye to prayer. Taking a deep breath in through your nose. Let it go your way. And inhaling for Om. Om, the vibrational quality that unites us with our highest selves, with one another, with the universe and all of the elements within it and within us. Thank you for trusting me with your Yin practice today.
The light in me sees, honors, and bows to that same beautiful light in each and every one of you. Namaste.